What is going on? What is up? What is up? I am going live, trying to get the audio and the video going good. And I'm trying to pull up the chat. See if I can try to get the audio and the video going good. All right, let's see. Gonna wait for somebody to get in here. How's it going? What is going on, everyone? I am Chad, the Reseller Rockefeller. Just right now, I'm trying to get the video and the audio, everything going, and I'm also trying to get it to where I can see the chat. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I don't know what is going on. We got so many windows open. All right, let's see. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Trying to see if I can see this chat. What's going on, people? Says we have 2 people in here watching. I am Chad, the Reseller Rockefeller, and pretty much I don't go live that much, but I am a full-time reseller. I buy and sell stuff on eBay, Amazon, and Etsy. I buy stuff from estate sales, yard sales, stuff like that. So if you're into reselling or if you're thinking about becoming a reseller, you should subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here soon. I got 2 people watching right now. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Please put it down in the chat if you can see me and you can hear me. I am pretty much new to going live, especially using this camera. And I'm hoping that you can hear me, and I'm hoping that you can see me. So if you got any questions, leave it down in the comments below. I'm willing to answer any and all questions that's regarding reselling, regarding anything of that nature. Just right now, I'm sitting in the office, just packing and shipping up some orders. I try to come in on Sundays because I have so many orders going out on Monday. I try to come in on Sundays. I try to pack and ship as many orders as I can get done today. So tomorrow it's not so busy for me to pack and ship all of my orders. And just try to get a lot of work done. I work pretty much every single day. So I'm always in the office, always trying to get work done. And actually just had a fellow reseller here in the warehouse, a guy I met about 3.5 weeks ago at yard sales. He just stopped by to take a look at some model trains that I have. I have a ton of model trains that I'm trying to sell. I have listed a few on eBay. I've sold some on eBay, but there's so many of them that I decided to just sell them as a lot, and hopefully, you know, somebody will buy them. So trying to see. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me. Nobody is commenting yet. Still says there's 2 people watching. What is going on, everyone? If you are watching, please leave it down in the comments that you can see me and hear me. That would be really greatly appreciated. So I am, yeah, so the reseller ended up coming, and we're going to work out a deal. He's going to buy all of the model trains. He's a reseller, but he's also a collector. So that's really who I wanted to sell to, was a collector, because I know collectors like to collect stuff, and if you're into trains, then that's the whole reason, you know, that I wanted to get somebody that actually collected trains so they can, you know, pay pretty good money, because there's a lot of people that, oh, that's what it is. So my built-in microphone. Oh, okay, there we go. So it is using that microphone. So I'm hoping you can hear me. It says it's using the correct microphone, so hopefully it is. But yeah, we worked out a good deal. I just made a lot of money off of that deal. The model trains I ended up purchasing it was about 8 or 9 months ago. I purchased an estate in Jacksonville, and the guy was a hoarder. I think I've talked about it in some of my previous videos. The guy was a complete hoarder. His whole house was full of boxes, trash, but there was also some good stuff mixed with, bad stuff. And I ended up purchasing the entire estate. And I ended up getting, we didn't get an exact count of how many model trains there was, but there was probably 800, maybe 1,000 model trains. All model trains from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So it was a lot of really good stuff. And I ended up bringing it back to my warehouse. I ended up going through it a little bit, and I posted some stuff on eBay, but for the most part, I just started listing it locally, trying to sell it all at one time because I didn't want to have to, sell each individual model train. And people that collect that kind of stuff, model trains, toys and stuff, they can be really picky when it comes down to selling. So I didn't want to get into it on eBay. So I just listed it locally, and they sold. So that was really good. All right, I'm still can't see the chat for some reason. So I'm not really sure if the chat isn't working, but I am unable to see the chat. All right, there's the chat. For some reason, I have about 8 different screens opened, and I could not see the chat. Ace Benden, what's going on, man? How's it going? Just sitting in the office. I didn't do a live show yesterday. Usually, like I said in the last live show, that I was going to come on at 6 o'clock every Saturday, but I was out house hunting yesterday. I was out looking at a bunch of houses. We're fixing to be moving. So I wasn't able to do a live show yesterday, so I figured why not? Since I was in the office today, I have nothing else going on. I'm just sitting here packing and shipping some orders. I have about 35 orders going out tomorrow, so I wanted to come in today and pack and ship some of the bigger orders. I had a couple of stereo receivers that I'm shipping out. I had a big record player that I'm shipping out. So I wanted to get all of that packed and shipped. So Monday, I didn't have a lot of work. How is everyone doing? How is everyone's, if you are a reseller, how are your sales doing? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Put it down in the comments, how, where you're from and how business is going. I want to communicate with y'all, and I want to, I want to answer any questions you have. So if you have any questions, you can leave it down in the comments. I did go out yesterday for just a couple of hours, went out to yard sales and estate sales. I really didn't find much. I didn't really go out for that long. And by the time I went out, it was kind of late in the afternoon. So I didn't really get too much. So I wish I had some stuff to show you guys that I picked up yesterday. But I did go I went to Ocala on Wednesday to go look at an estate that I was trying to negotiate a deal on. And I could not negotiate a deal on this estate. They had a ton of furniture, and they just didn't have a lot of, small stuff. So it really was just a house full of furniture. And I wasn't able to negotiate a deal because I'm not really in the furniture business. And but I did end up buying a few items from them. And the few items that I got was some old record players. I got some old records. I also picked up some baseball cards and football cards. I didn't really pay much at all for those. So, yeah. All right, Missouri. I had a big weekend last weekend. This weekend has been a bunch of nothing. Yeah. For some reason, last weekend was really good for me. And then this weekend, I just didn't even really go out that much. Yard sales has been really slow. But hopefully yard sales is going to start picking up. Estate sales, I'm going to start buying up some stuff here soon. I have so much inventory right now. It's kind of hard for me to go out and just buy, run-of-the-mill type items. When I go out, I'm looking for big, high-profit items that are actually going to make me, a significant amount of profit. I'm not really out, just doing my normal buying because I have so much inventory right now that needs to be listed. I'm not, buying, run-of-the-mill type items. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start getting some more stuff listed, and then I'm going to go back out and start really buying some stuff. What's up, man? What's going on? Backcountry Sportsman, what's up? Yeah, I figured I would go live today. Yesterday, I didn't go out. I didn't go to yard sales. I didn't go to estate sales. As you know, I've been looking for a house. So we've been driving around. We've looked at so many houses. We've set so many appointments with realtors, and it's just been really hectic. So I thought I was going to be able to go out yesterday and go hit some yard sales and estate sales. But we had a couple of realtors call us, and they scheduled some viewings of some property on Saturday. So I wasn't able to go out and go to yard sales or estate sales. But yeah, I was in Publix the other day, and I was going through the checkout line, and a woman that was a bagger at Publix, she asked me if I made YouTube videos, and I said yes. And she said that her husband watches my videos. So I didn't get her husband's name, but hey, if you're watching this video and your ex-wife, I think she said you're her ex-husband. It's either your husband or your ex-husband. I can't remember what she said. But if you're watching this, I've seen her at Publix, and I really appreciate the support. Yeah, nice. Find something good. I did great. Oh, man, that's sweet, man. I'm glad that you actually, you know, tell me about it. Give me shoot me a text and let me know what you got. I heard there was some pretty good sales. I talked to another friend of mine, and he said that there wasn't that many sales, but he said there was some good stuff. He picked up some good stuff. So it kind of made me jealous that I didn't go out. But hey, what can you do? You have to do what you got to do. And right now, I think finding a house is more important than buying some stuff. I got so much inventory. I shouldn't even be going out buying anything right now. But as a reseller and as a person that buys and resells, you know, I'm always out buying. I don't really. There are some resellers out there that will they won't buy unless they have everything listed, which I guess is a good discipline. But I look at it this way. You know, I'm always out there looking for money. I'm always out there looking for something that I can resell and make a profit on. And even though I have inventory, it doesn't mean that I don't want to go out and look for stuff. It just means that when I go out and I'm out sourcing for good inventory, I'm not buying run-of-the-mill type items. I'm looking for, big profit items. So that's the only thing that I do. When I have a lot of inventory, I still go out and I source. It's just I don't go out and I don't buy, the run-of-the-mill type stuff. I'm just sticking to higher profit items. Best of the day was 78 1994 figurines new in box. 40 negotiated for about 15 minutes. Figurines, who are they made by? 78 of them. Holy smokes. So no matter what, you're going to be making money. But yeah, I mean, it depends on who they're made by. It depends on how much money you're actually going to make. But no matter what, you're going to make money. I mean, 78 of them. That's the kind of stuff I love to buy. I love buying, different kinds. I mean, everybody knows me. If you don't know me, I buy all kinds of stuff. So I love buying anything and everything. Kenner sports stuff, lots of rookies. That's what's up. That's a good find. 12 to 15 each comps. Wow. Yeah, that's sweet. Now you got me jealous. I should have went out. I should have went sourcing. I should have been at yard sales and estate sales. This coming up weekend, I'm going out. I'm going to be, hopefully there's going to be some sales because I have nothing planned for this weekend. And I am going to be going out and trying to find some stuff. So right now, I've been in the office just working all day, just trying to get some stuff listed. I had a couple of orders come in for some bigger items when you're shipping like record players. Oh, I'm also shipping out a pair of vintage Pioneer speakers. So that I'm going to have to make a custom box, and it's just going to take me some time. So I know. You got to rub it in that I didn't make it out there and I wasn't able to source. But hey, look, I'm happy that there's other resellers out there able to get some stuff, you know, because when I get out there, then you guys, you're going to have to speed up the process, because I try to get out super early in the morning and I try to beat everybody to every yard sale. It's funny because I was just talking to another reseller earlier. He came to my warehouse. He was looking at some model trains that he's going to buy. And me and him were talking about how Gainesville has such a tight community when it comes down to resellers. There definitely is, quite a few resellers, but everybody doesn't really know each other. I know a few resellers, and it's just by seeing them out in public or seeing them out at yard sales or estate sales, but I don't really, know them. But me and him were talking about how, come Friday and Saturday, everybody's trying to be, the first one out there. The early bird gets the worm, and everybody's trying to race to yard sales. And it's funny because it's true. When you have so many resellers in such a small area, it really is competition. Everybody is out looking for stuff. The good thing is, even when me and you went out yard selling together, I noticed that we have, totally different ways of kind of running our business, and you look for certain stuff that I really wouldn't know what, to look for, and vice versa. So it kind of all, weighs itself out and, or equals itself out, because no matter how many resellers there is, we're all different. We don't all go looking for the same stuff. And, that's a good thing. So it would suck if all of us were, the same. If we all, were dealing in the same kinds of items, then that would be pretty rough, because we would all be out looking for the same stuff, and it would be hard. Oh yeah, there's plenty. That's what I don't understand, why some resellers get mad. Like I've actually heard other resellers get mad that there's other resellers in the area. And that's just stupid. It really is. There's so much out there that, it's impossible for, especially Gainesville, because we're such a small county, but the population is pretty, substantial. There's a lot of people in this small community and county. Most people don't realize how many people are actually in Gainesville, Florida. And when you count the surrounding areas like Ocala, High Springs, Williston, Hawthorne, Alachua, Newberry, there's a lot of people. So, I just can't wait for the sales to really start picking up. And, I love it when, it's full blown summer and you open up, or on Saturday, you look at the yard sale treasure map, and there's 80, 90, 100 yard sales to go to. I love that. I'm hoping to be, I'm actually going to be heading down to Tampa soon, because about a year ago, almost a year ago, I found a gentleman in Tampa that had a warehouse full of vintage, old new stock sports, like clothing items, mainly t-shirts, sweaters, baseball hats. Anyways, he had a whole warehouse full of stuff, and I met him through a friend of mine. He contacted me. He told me that this guy was looking to liquidate. So me and my brothers, we drove down to Tampa, and we got to the warehouse, and I was blown away. The warehouse was like, I can't remember, but it was huge. It was probably 20,000 square foot warehouse. It was like the size of a half a Walmart. And he had all of these big metal racks full. It just was aisles and aisles of sports clothing, all in the boxes. And I started talking to the gentleman about how, what their business was. And he said that his father was the biggest seller for sports clothing in the 70s and 80s and 90s. He said that his father owned a business. They would have the clothing manufactured, and then they would get it shipped over to the United States. And then they would follow NCAA, NBA, MLB, sports teams around the country. And every time they would have a game, they would set up inside the stadium or inside whatever the venue was. They would set up and they would sell the merchandise. And they were, at the time, he said they were the only company that was authorized by all of these different sports agencies to sell their merchandise. So he closed down his doors in 2001, and the warehouse just sat there for years. And finally, his dad, obviously he was up in his age. I think he was like 81 or 82, maybe even a little older than that. Finally realized that he needed to try to sell off all of this stuff. So the son contacted me. We ended up going down there. I ended up contacting 4 or 5 other resellers to try to see if we could all get in on the deal, because he was wanting quite a bit of money altogether if we were to buy the whole warehouse. So I reached out to some other resellers, and we couldn't make a deal for everything, but we did end up spending quite a bit of money. I ended up spending quite a bit of money myself. And so now I just got back into contact with them, and now I'm going back down to Tampa to try to work out another deal, because I did so good with that stuff. I made a lot of money off of that stuff. So now I'm going back down there, and hopefully I'm going to be able to buy out the rest of everything that he has. So that's going to be soon, and I'm probably going to try to film it. It's amazing how much stuff they actually have in this warehouse. The quality of the stuff, it blew my mind. I never thought that anybody would have that much stuff inside their warehouse, especially that kind of stuff. I mean, if you look on eBay right now and you see what kind, how much vintage Michael Jordan shirts are selling for, or vintage Shaq or all of that stuff. That stuff is selling for really good money, and all of this stuff is new old stock. This stuff hasn't seen the light of day in years. So I made a butt ton of money off of that, and I can't wait to go back. Would you sell a high-end turntable whole or strip and sell parts? Don't want to deal with finicky autofiles. Oh, I mean, I sell record players all the time. So I'm not sure. It just depends. Does the record player work, or does it have issues? If it has issues, then obviously I would actually probably just sell it as a whole, but I would put for parts only. If it does not have issues and it works, then I would sell it as a unit. I wouldn't try to part it out. It's not that hard to ship a turntable. It's not, there's tons of videos already out on YouTube on how to ship record players and turntables and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would just sell it just like it is, either way. Even if it was broke, or if it works, I would still sell it as a whole. Sometimes parting items out are, it's more profitable that way. But for the most part, it's time consuming, and you never know. You might be able to make more money parting it out, or you might not. So you don't really know ahead of time unless you're really familiar with what each item sells for. But for the most part, I don't really part out a lot of stuff. Every now and then I'll come across something like a vintage reel-to-reel player, or maybe an old tube radio that's worth more if you parted it out. And the only time that ever is the case is when you have something that might be too damaged, but it has good parts. So say, for instance, you buy like a 1940s or something radio, but it's really beat up. It's really cracked up. It has a lot of issues, but it still has some parts that are worth money. Then, it's worth parting an item out. But, for the most part, I would just sell it, together as a unit. I would not part it out. It just depends on what it is and how much it's going for. It might not even be worth selling. Have you looked it up already? Have you seen what they're going for? Got 8 people watching. What's going on, everybody? Leave it down in the comments. How many of you are all of you resellers? I'm kind of curious to know. Is everybody watching a reseller? And if you're a reseller, if you would leave it down in the comments, where you're from, where are you located? Are you located in Florida? Or are you I see that, obviously I know Backcountry Sportsman. He's right here in Gainesville. And let's see. Ace Venden, you're in Missouri. Just curious to see, where you guys are from. Thrift Daddy, you're in DC. I heard thrifting and stuff up there is actually really good. I've had a couple of friends of mine say that, DC is pretty darn good to buy in. I'm a wannabe reseller. SoCal, what's going on? Thomas, Todd. Diana Matthews, yep, upstate New York. New York is a pretty nice state. I was actually in upstate New York not long ago. I was in Rochester. I actually went up there for a friend's wedding. And I also went around and hit some yard sales and hit some estate sales. But yeah, upstate New York is actually a good place to source. There's lots of antiques. There's lots of collectibles and antiques upstate. Part-time, House of Treasures, South Carolina. South Carolina's got some pretty good stuff too. I've been up that area actually quite often. I've actually been in, I actually used to live in North Carolina, and I used to travel to South Carolina all the time. We used to do a lot of barn picking in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. We would go out and we would search for pieces of property that had numerous barns on it. And that was way before like American Pickers and all of these TV shows came out. So it was back when it was simple. It was easy to go out and find somebody's home and knock on their door and ask them if they had anything that they wanted to sell, and then talk your way into ending up in their barn, buying out, a bunch of really good high-end antiques. But now it's not so easy because, back in the day, there wasn't all of these TV shows. There wasn't so much talk about antiques and collectibles and porcelain signs and gas pumps. And now everybody and their son and daughter, everybody knows that that stuff is worth money. I mean, I've talked to young children that know, an antique Coca-Cola sign is worth money. It's surprising how much has changed in the past, 5 to 10, even 15 years. Reselling has really changed a lot. And it's, some people say it's gotten better. It's gotten worse. Everybody has their own opinion. There definitely is there definitely has been a huge spike in the amount of resellers. I remember 5 or 10 years ago, there really wasn't that many resellers, especially on YouTube. But now there's quite a few, and but it never affected me, and I don't think it's ever going to affect me because, I'm always pushing the envelope. I'm always staying humble and excited, and I always have that passion that's pushing me because, if you don't have a passion for reselling, you're not gonna feel like you're thriving to get further in this business. You're kind of gonna start slacking off. You're gonna start making mistakes. You're not gonna keep pushing. I'm always pushing the envelope. I'm always trying to learn new stuff. I'm always trying to buy and sell different things. I always am trying to do more within my business. I'm always trying to overcome and adapt, because if you're not willing to adapt, if you're not willing to go outside of your comfort zone within this business, you're going to be restricting your business to the point to where you're going to be choking out all of your profits because you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone and sell hard goods. You don't know how many resellers I've talked to over the past, 5, 10 years that said that they were going to sell clothing and nothing but clothing. And then 3, 4 years later, they have moved on to selling electronics, toys, they've moved on, they've overcome, they've adapted to society. They adapted to what you have to do to make money. And if you're not willing to do that, it's going to be really hard for you to make money, because especially if you want to keep your business somewhat small. For me, I don't want to grow my business into something that is unmanageable or something that isn't enjoyable. I don't want to have a huge business with 5, 10, 15 employees. I want to have my business. I want to be the main person doing everything, because that's what I enjoy. I love going out. I love sourcing. I love packing and shipping items. I love listing items. I love running my business. So, I don't want to grow my business into something that I don't want. And I think there's a lot of resellers out there that are trying to grow their business, but don't realize when they get to that point to where they have 4, 5, 6 employees, they have a huge warehouse, they have offices, it turns into something that they really didn't want. And that's the thing, is they're shooting for the stars, hoping that that's their golden ticket to making a bunch of money. In reality, you can do this business as long as you play it smart. You can have the same amount of money as a business that has 4, 5, 6 employees. You can do that in just your home. I know people that are making that kind of money with just a normal small warehouse or storage unit, and they're still doing business out of their home. So, I mean, I think that you have to start thinking about where are you wanting to go within this business. What are you trying to achieve, and where are you trying to go? And I always told myself from the very beginning that I want to be successful, but I also want to enjoy what it is that I do. So that means that I don't want to build my business too big. I want to build it to a certain point to where I'm successful, but I'm also living life happy, and I have the time to actually live life. Because if you build this business too big, you're going to start stretching yourself thin. You're going to start being stressed out all the time. You're going to be dealing with so much that it's no longer enjoyable. And I think if you ever get to that point, then that's when you need to take a step back and reevaluate what it is you're actually trying to accomplish. I think most people that get into this business of reselling, they're trying to accomplish success, but they're also trying to accomplish happiness and freedom of being able to work for themselves, but make a substantial amount of money to where they can provide for their family and they can live a successful life and a happy life. And I just think there's so many resellers out there that are kind of being sidetracked into thinking that you have to grow your business astronomically. You have to sell hundreds and hundreds of items a day. Anybody that's out there that's a reseller, that, especially those that are posting, on Instagram and Facebook, and, these pictures of them shipping out 50, 60, 100 items a day. And, a lot of resellers, they don't know. They just see that picture and they don't know the story behind it. And they just automatically think that this person is a extremely large reseller and they're making tons of money. But you don't know how much profit they're making on each item. You don't know if they're shipping out 100 items a day, but they're only making $2 on each item. That's not that much money. And you don't know the backstory. And so I just think that so many resellers are following other resellers and watching what it is that they're doing and comparing themselves, to other resellers, when you shouldn't compare yourself to other resellers, because you don't know their business. You don't know what it is that they're doing or how much they're making. You're just guessing by, what they're posting or what their videos are. You're kind of guessing. You're coming up with an assumption that this reseller is making a lot of money because he's shipping out so many items per day. And that may be the case with some resellers, but that may not be the case with other resellers. You never know. I don't really compare myself to anybody, but as far as like resellers that are on YouTube, It's hard to say who is making money and who isn't making money, but it's definitely, it's easy to see, based on the kind of items that people sell, you can kind of get a good idea of how much a reseller is making. But it's really, not something that I ever really think about or want to think about, because I could care less what another reseller is making. I'm more focused on what I'm making and what I'm doing, in my life and my business. I'm not really focused on what other resellers are doing. And I think that's something that a lot of newer resellers waste a lot of time on. They're thinking about other resellers more than they are themselves. And also, I think a lot of resellers, start following these bigger resellers, the big resellers on YouTube. They start following them and trying to replicate their business. They try to, pretty much replicate everything that that reseller, whoever the reseller is they're following, they're trying to replicate their business. When you shouldn't replicate anybody's business, you should, be unique, do your own thing, and you're going to be successful if you focus on that. If you try to replicate somebody else's business, you're not going to be successful, or at least you're not going to be as successful as you could be if you've only focused on yourself. But anyways, my short-term goal is to net $3K a month. I'm a third away there, brother. It's tough sourcing 1 day a week. Yeah, backcountry sportsman. I completely understand, bud. Since you're only able to source 1 day a week, that is going to be, $3K a month. It's definitely doable. It's definitely doable, and you seem to have a very good sense of what to buy, and you definitely have a really good grasp on the whole reselling business. So I definitely think you can do that, and that's definitely a good goal, and that's a good number. It's $3,000 a month isn't a whole lot, but it's definitely enough to where you're actually making a good income. But you're going to have to start. I don't know. When we talked last time, you were talking about going full time with this. So, we'll see. Hopefully you're able to go full time. And then that's when you're going to see a huge difference in your business. When you switch over and transition into going full time, it opens up so much more, because you're able to dedicate so much more to your business. You're able to dedicate so much more to sourcing. And it's going to open up a lot of doors for you. So hopefully that day will come soon, because I always, but I don't want people to rush it. So, I've had too many friends of mine that rushed, going full time with reselling, and it actually hurt them. So I don't want you to rush into it, but, definitely I think that you're way further ahead than most resellers you're way further ahead than most resellers, because the amount of time that you've spent reselling and how much you've actually grown within this short amount of time is crazy. Most people, it takes them so long to actually grasp what this business is, how you're supposed to approach this business, what you're supposed to buy, what you're not supposed to buy. There's a lot of resellers out there that are wasting tons of money buying stuff that isn't worth it. There's a lot of it. I see it every day. So many resellers out there, they're sourcing so much, stuff that just isn't profitable and is just a waste of time. You shouldn't even be listing stuff like that on eBay. I try to focus on more, profitable items. It takes longer. I could go out every day and I could find trunkfuls. I could fill my truck up every day with low profit items. It's harder to go out there and find the higher profit items, but it's better because you're going to be making more profit each sale, and your time is money. So if you're spending a lot of time listing and you're not making that much profit on each item, you would be much better off spending more time sourcing, less time listing, and more time selling higher profit items. I try to keep a consistent You know, I try to make at least 3 times my money. And I also try to sell stuff, you know, as long as I'm making $20 or more per item, then I will sell it on eBay. If I'm not, then it's very hard for me to sell it. A lot of clothing items, I don't make as much profit on, but most of the clothing items that I sell are really easy for me to list, and I can ship them fast. So, you know, it all weighs itself out. And once you get the hang of it, your business will just start thriving. And, you know, you can make some pretty good money within the reselling business. I actually just had somebody message me the other day that watches my channel, and they were just asking, you know, how much can I expect to make with the reselling business if I were to go full time? And, you know, my answer to that person was, it's hard to say. It just depends on how much time you put in it, how much effort you put into learning what it is to buy. You know, you need to, my biggest pet peeve is people need to put more time into research and building your, you know, educating yourself on what to buy. I think that if you spent more time educating yourself and learning about, you know, different stuff, you're going to make more money. There's so many people out there that are just jumping on YouTube and following other resellers and pretty much watching what they're buying, because there's so many resellers out there on YouTube that are just telling you to buy, you know, hey, go out, look for this item or look for that item. And they're setting people up for failure, because all of the items that you should be looking for, you know, most resellers are not just going to tell you, you know, these good items. They're just telling you the run-of-the-mill type items, the kind of items that you're not really going to make much profit on. And, you know, there's so many people out there getting caught up in following other resellers and listening to other resellers telling them this is what you should buy, this is what you shouldn't buy. In all reality, you should be doing the research yourself. You should be learning about different things. You know, like I said before, at a very young age, I started researching different stuff. So what I would do is I would pick a day, say on Monday, I would say, today I'm going to research everything there is to do with Hot Wheels cars. Today, I'm going to try to learn as much as I can about Hot Wheels. What are the good ones? What are the bad ones? What Hot Wheel cars are selling for the most? What should I look for? What should I be not looking for? And every day I would pick a different item. I would pick a different, you know, subject or topic or whatever you want to call it. Some days I would search pottery. Some days I would search glassware. Some days I would search baseball cards or die-cast cars. And over time, I started to become very, very familiar with all of these different items. I started noticing that when I was outsourcing, I was able to pick up an item and immediately know if it was worth money or not, or if it was a highly sought after item, if it was something that people were actually wanting to buy or looking to buy. And I just started to become very knowledgeable about that. And I still do it till this day. I'm constantly putting in work. I'm constantly researching trends. I'm constantly researching what's popular, what's not popular. I'm constantly trying to figure out new avenues to take. You know, I'm always reinventing the wheel. I'm always trying to go above and beyond what people think reselling is. You know, I'm always trying to do different things. You know, I'm always trying to just go different. I'm not trying to be the same reseller I was yesterday, because you'll get caught up in this. You know, as a reseller and as a reseller that's been doing this a long time, I know from experience. I remember about 8 years ago, I was caught in this box of being super comfortable. I didn't really care to learn anything new. You know, I was just kind of caught in this box, and I was restricting myself. I was restricting my business. I was restricting the amount of money I could be making. And I remember the time when I was listening to somebody on an audio book, and I remember them telling me that, need to step outside of the box, and you need to think outside of the box, and you need to kind of reinvent yourself every day and constantly push yourself to new heights on a daily basis. And that's where I started to really buckle down on, you know, just being creative, constantly learning about new stuff. You know, I remember I used to never want to buy and sell art. I remember at one point in time, I was scared to death of art. I didn't know anything to do with art. I didn't know any artist other than like big, well-known artists. I didn't know anything to do with art. That was about 4.5 years ago. Then I started to research art. I spent weeks and weeks just studying art, reading books, getting on Google, just constantly researching art. And now I consider myself to be a professional. I consider myself to be good enough to where I can pick up any piece of artwork and immediately tell, you know, its value. I can tell if a piece of artwork is worth money or if it's trash. And it's changed who I am as a reseller, because I'm able to go out to these thrift stores and Goodwills and flea markets and yard sales and estate sales, and I'm able to actually, you know, look at a piece of art, appraise a piece of art, and figure out if it's something that I can make money on. And a lot of people don't understand this, but art is a huge category. Tons of people are buying art. Tons of people collect art. Art is a really big niche to be in. And if you know about, you know, art, you can make some serious money. I've made some big money on art pieces. I recently just purchased a piece of artwork from the Goodwill right here in Gainesville. I purchased it for $12, and it was I can't remember the artist right now. For some reason, my mind went blank. I cannot remember the artist, but I definitely will find out the artist and put it in my next video. But I bought the piece of artwork. It was I want to say it was a watercolor. I'm pretty sure it was a watercolor, and it was just trees, and it had a house in the background, and it really didn't look special. It didn't look like it was worth anything. But I picked it up. I kind of looked at the frame. I looked at, you know, how the art was, the condition, the canvas. I looked at everything, and I with my knowledge, I dated it to the late 1800s, maybe around 1860s. But I did not know the artist. It was somebody that I didn't know. And I ended up buying the piece of artwork for $12. And in my head, I thought that the artwork was going to be worth probably $150, maybe $200. But I ended up getting home. I ended up researching, and it turns out that this piece of artwork was worth about $4,500. So, you know, and that ain't the only time I've made big money on art. I've made big money on art, you know, over the past, you know, 3, 4, 5 years, quite a few times. I mean, you know, I find it on a regular basis. The prices, you know, vary, you know, $100, $200, all the way up to $5,000 to $6,000. But it's just, you know, it's another tool that I can add to my arsenal. When I go out sourcing, I know that I know enough about art to where I can accurately buy a piece without losing money. So, you know, that's the main thing. That's my main point, is you need to be building your knowledge and educating yourself about everything out there, unless you're focusing on a niche. If you're focusing on a niche, then just focus on that niche. Try to become the best you can be within that niche, and learn as much as you can about whatever that is that you're selling. It's just my opinion that, you know, niches are restrictful for your business. You can definitely make some money focusing on a niche, but I would much rather focus on buying and selling pretty much anything and everything. I'm just not a niche type person. I don't want to get bored. I don't want to get comfortable. I want to constantly be pushing the envelope. So I'm not really a niche person. Thrift Daddy question: can you tell us about mourning jewelry, and if you have found any? I'm not sure what you mean, mourning jewelry, and if you have found any. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Thrift Daddy. Morning jewelry. What is it? Tell me what it is. I'm not familiar with that name. Or are you talking about, is Morning a maker of jewelry? Is it costume jewelry or something? I'm not really sure what you mean by morning jewelry. But anyways, yeah, I'm just in the office. I figured I would go live today. I really wanted to take a break from packing. I've been here for the last probably hour just packing boxes, and I wanted to take a break. So I figured, why not? Let's jump on live. Mourning the death of a loved one. Huh. I mean, now I know what you're talking about. So you're just talking about pieces of jewelry that is could be gold filled or 10K gold pin with a lock of hair in it. Yeah, there's also another name for it. They're called God, I can't think of the name right now. I actually had a little 18 karat gold. It was like a little locket, and it had a piece of hair, and it had I think it was a piece of bone of the person. I'm not 100% sure, but they call it mourning jewelry, and they also call it something else, and I cannot. Let me see if I can look it up real fast. I think I know what you're talking about. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm just going to look it up real quick because I know that they call it something else. Oh, I can't remember the name, but I remember that it was a little locket, and it had a piece of hair, and it had like a piece of bone in it, but I can't remember what they actually called it. But I've seen it before. I've picked it up at estate sales before. Sometimes they can definitely be worth some money. It just depends. There's also different makers. The fact if it's gold or if it's gold filled, if it's costume, if it's costume jewelry, there's so many different variables that can dictate how much that piece is going to be worth. But definitely, it's one of those items that isn't like it's not highly sought after because some people, don't want to affiliate themselves with a dead person. So, as far as jewelry goes, there's not a whole lot of people out there, looking to buy a piece of jewelry with someone's hair in it. But there is a very weird market of people that are into, different rituals or satanic or different things to where they would want that. I've seen people sell, hair on eBay. I've seen people sell, fragments of bone, different things of that nature. So it just kind of, it's one of those things. I've never sold a piece of mourning jewelry on eBay, but I've honed it. I actually bought a piece at an estate sale probably 8 months ago. It wasn't that long ago, and it was a little locket, and it had some hair in it. And I ended up trying to research who the family was because over the years, I've learned that if you come across really unique items that are family oriented like that, and it has somebody's name on it, if you can find a family member, they would be more willing to pay you more money. I've sold tons of old photographs to the original family. You'll be surprised, how much that stuff means to people. I've also given it to family. I've had people contact me on eBay saying that the photograph that I'm selling is of their great-great-great-grandfather and that they would love to have it. And I just cancel the listing and ship it right to them. You'd be surprised. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about by, I didn't realize what you meant when you said mourning in the jewelry. I just didn't put the two together. But yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I've definitely owned some stuff before, but it's not something that I come across a lot. But if I can pick it up, I will pick it up depending on the price. And if it's gold, it's definitely, obviously worth money. What is it that you have? Do you got like a necklace, or do you have a charm, a locket, something like that? How many of you are resellers that deal in jewelry? I'm curious to know. I've been asking a lot of resellers lately, and it's surprisingly, there's not a lot of resellers that deal in jewelry for some reason. I guess that I don't know. I feel like that there's so many resellers out there, and so many of them, they don't buy, sterling silver. They don't buy gold. They don't know enough about it. There's so many resellers. It seems like the majority of resellers on YouTube are clothing resellers or video game / electronics. There's not really a whole bunch of resellers that buy and sell anything and everything. Thrift Daddy said, me, yeah, I had a pin and it sold for 75. Yeah, the pin, the morning jewelry pins, those can sell for good money. But anyways, I'm going to be getting off of here, folks. I just wanted to get on for a short minute and say hello to everybody, kill some times, give my hands some rest. But now I got to get back to shipping these items out so I don't have to ship so much on Monday. But hopefully I'll be going live again soon. I'm getting the hang of it more and more every day that I go live. I learn how to do it better. And hopefully I will be going live again. Hopefully this time I'll put a notification that I'm going live hours and hours beforehand, so it gives people time to actually come and check out the channel and actually watch the live show. And hopefully we'll start getting some more and more people in here, and I can answer some more questions. If anybody has any questions, you can always leave it down in the comments. If you have any questions right now, I'll take some. But I want to say thanks to everybody for coming out, watching the show. I know we didn't really talk about much, just kind of rambled on for a little while, but I was just trying to kill some time, talk to some fellow resellers, and hopefully get the word out there about some stuff. But yeah, I can't wait to, I resell jewelry. Good job. Thanks. Thanks a lot, y'all. Really appreciate it. Yeah, if you're out there and you're reselling jewelry, just make sure you have a gold testing kit. I know a lot of resellers that say they don't need it. They don't test gold. They're good. They can buy it. There's so much fake stuff out there on the market these days. It's unreal. I mean, I've came across some really good high-end fake jewelry the other day. With even my expertise, I've been doing this 15 years. I've been buying and selling jewelry as long as I can remember. And this jewelry was one of the best fakes I've ever seen. And it's definitely out there on the market. So if you're a reseller, especially a newer reseller that you're trying to get into buying and selling jewelry, please go out and get a diamond test kit, get a gold testing kit, and make sure you test everything that you buy. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's so cheap that, you can gamble on it. Sometimes I'll buy stuff. Obviously I've gotten very familiar with, identifying gold. I can pretty much look at a piece of gold, and for the most part, I can almost guarantee, if it's real or not, just by looking at it, touching it, feeling it. But I definitely, test all of my items eventually. But for the most part, if I'm out at a yard sale or I'm out at an estate sale, I will gamble on an item if it's worth it. If I'm holding a necklace that I can feel is, 12, 15, 30 grams, and they are only asking $5 or $10, I'm not going to sit there and worry about testing it. I'm going to gamble on it and I'm going to buy it. If it turns out to be fake, oh well. But for the most part, you got to understand, when you're out at estate sales, when you're out at yard sales especially, if you whip out a gold kit and you're sitting there trying to test a piece of jewelry, the odds are they're going to know that you're a dealer. They're going to know that it's gold. They're going to want more money. And most of the times, from my experience, when I find gold at a yard sale, it's usually they don't know that it's gold, or they don't care. And it's just sitting in a jewelry box, or it's just sitting, on the table, and they don't really know what they have. So I don't recommend going out and trying to test jewelry at a yard sale, because you're just setting yourself up for failure, because they're going to ask, what are you doing? Then they're going to ask, okay, is it gold? And then when you say how much, their price is going to go up. or they're going to say, I don't want to sell it. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was in there. So, but if you are in the business of reselling and you are wanting to buy and sell gold or diamonds or jewelry, you need to get a testing kit. I will leave down in the I will leave it down in the description, the diamond tester that I use. I will also leave the gold testing kit that I use and all that good stuff. So look for it down in the description below. Let's see. Thrift Daddy, I bought a broken 14 karat cigarette holder. Turned out the 14 karat was a sheet wrapped around the copper parts and stripped of the 14K and stripped off the 14K. Yeah, I've actually, Thrift Daddy, I've actually ran across that same exact item before. I think that back in the day, it was real popular. I'm pretty sure it's like Mexican style silver mixed with like gold, and they hand make, as far as my experience, I've come across them. I've probably owned 50, 60, 100 different lighter cases that had silver, copper, and gold mixed into it in different pieces and layers and stuff. It's a real common item that people used to, hand make. And so I've actually sold them without stripping off the gold. People actually collect those. So I'm not sure exactly what you had, but I've sold them for pretty good money. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You got to be careful out there. There's a lot of fakes going around. There's also, I'm not sure if any of you are dealing in gold bullion, but there's a ton of gold bullion out on the market. I just got a call from a friend of mine in New York City that was saying that he just recently heard about some gold bars being passed around and sold from really reputable companies in the gold district. So if you're dealing in gold bullion, I would be extremely careful. There is so much fake bullion and fake gold going around that you got to be skeptical. You have to know who you're buying from when it comes down to gold bullion. I don't buy any investor gold unless I'm buying from a reputable company, somebody that I've done business with. And even then, if I'm buying, more than, $5,000 or $10,000 worth, I'm going to be testing at least one of the items that I get just to see. But anyways, the answer to see what's up. I love jewelry. I want to keep it all fake gold, Bitcoin. Yeah, that's definitely true. And yeah, 01 Wolf. Yeah, I actually, since I'm a reseller myself, I'm always coming across items that I want to keep. I don't wear a whole lot of jewelry, but there is a few items that I wear. I got a couple of watches that I collect. Speaking of watches, I actually purchased a watch the other day that needs some work. I don't have it here. It's at my house. But on the next video, I'm going to show you a watch that I picked up from an estate sale. I paid pretty good money for the watch, but obviously it was an item that slipped through the cracks because they had no clue what it was worth, or they wouldn't have sold it for that cheap. And I'm going to be showing it on the next video that I do. So anyways, folks, I'm out of here. Thanks a lot for all of you to come and check out my live show. I really appreciate it. If you would, please go down and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel a lot. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, please hit the subscribe button. If you're into reselling, if you're into buying and selling stuff for a living, this is a channel that you should be following. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day. Get out there, get to sourcing, get to finding some stuff, get to listing some stuff, and be successful and be happy. That's the main thing. You need to enjoy. You need to enjoy everything you do. And if you're not enjoying what it is that you're doing, then don't do it. Other than that, folks, I'm out. I can't wait to see y'all next video. Peace.